players of this year's York Adams League. Or go to WOK1350.com for this year's complete lineup of high school basketball previews. And this winter, catch 2 games a week, including the high school basketball game of the week every Friday. Presented by WellSpan Sports Medicine and only here on Sports Radio 1350.
It's now time for York Mitsubishi's end-of-year sale. Save like never before on all Outlander Sports, Lancers, and Mirages. 0% financing for up to 72 months with $1,000 rebate and no payments till March 2016. If that's not enough, the all-new 2016 Outlander is now in stock with standard 7-passenger seating starting at $22,995. Don't get our famous 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty on all Outlanders, Outlander Sports, Lancers, and Mirages. So stop by York Mitsubishi's end-of-year sale and see what we can do for you. Just off Route 30 on Roosevelt Avenue, York.
Need an assist? Get great savings and great weekly specials at your favorite neighborhood stores. Use your gold card and stop in now at Nell's Fresh Food Markets in Spry, East Berlin, and Carlisle. Sobel's Markets in Shrewsbury, Stewartstown, and Whiteford. And Wetzel's Market in Glenrock. Your full court headquarters and always the freshest meats and produce.
You hear a lot about CPAP masks these days, but here's something you don't hear much about. Over half of the people who wear a CPAP mask for sleep stop wearing it within a year. How's that working for you? Dr. Gordon Bell would like you to hear this. York Dental Sleep Therapy has dental options that can help many of those people. If you or someone you live with is struggling with sleep apnea, visit yorksleep.com and see how Dr. Gordon Bell can help return your home to peaceful nights of deep, restful sleep. If you're groggy during the workday, if you wake up feeling exhausted, if you would like to get your nighttime sleep patterns back to a healthy state, get a confirmation from your doctor, then meet with Dr. Bell at his office on West Market Street in Hallam. He'll evaluate your symptoms and discuss which treatments would best suit your situation. Dr. Bell can restore restful sleep and get you feeling better day and night.
Seven 717-854-5175. Remember, being broken down stinks. Let us repair your car at Fing's.
We're everywhere. Listen on the go with the WOYK mobile apps. Download today at WOYK1350.com. Herd.
Whoa!
The Herd
From Los Angeles
is on and popping.
Please, think before you come for the great one.
And we're back at it.
Got the drink and me going bad to back.
Once again, it's The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
from Los Angeles.
Whoa!
This is amazing. Look at this. I'm just looking at the NFL. The Buccaneers play the Rams tonight. It's dreadful, but the Bucs at 6-7 can still make the playoffs. Listen to this. There are 16 games this weekend. 16 NFL games. We're in week 15. This is remarkable. I'll read the games. Bucs and Rams. Awful. Bucs still long shot playoffs. Jets, Cowboys. Cowboys 7-9 if they win out. Jets still fighting for playoff position. Panthers, Giants, playoffs in play. Titans, Patriots. Patriots want to remain the number 1 seed. Bills, Redskins. Washington still fighting in the NFC East. Chiefs, Ravens. Kansas City obviously fighting for wild card position. Texans, Colts battling for the AFC South Championship. Falcons, Jags. Believe it or not, the Jags are just one game out in their division. Bears, Vikings, Minnesota, a wild card team potentially. Packers, Raiders, absolutely. Green Bay fighting off Minnesota. Browns, Seahawks, Seattle, absolutely. Playoff implications. Bengals, Niners, yes. Broncos, Steelers, yes. Cardinals, Eagles, yes. The only 2 games in the NFL this weekend where I don't believe there's a playoff implication, Lions at the Saints, Monday Night Football, that will be a dog. And Dolphins at the Chargers. That's a CBS game on Sunday. I don't think there's anything there. Nice weather cities, but that's about it. That's remarkable. Week 15, NFL, All but 2 games on the schedule. Even that lousy one tonight, Bucks at the Rams, there's playoff implications. That's incredible. That really is. Mike in Los Angeles, go ahead. You're in the herd.
Hey, good morning, Colin.
Good morning.
Good morning, Christine.
Good morning. He's a happy guy.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, really quick, in reference to Russell Wilson, in my opinion, he reminds me a lot of Brett Favre. He has that pocket presence.
Without the, you don't get the picks. You don't get nearly the picks.
Yeah, and that was going to be my point. He has that quick release, but he doesn't make those boneheaded plays that Brett Favre used to make when he used to remind me of Jeff George.
Yeah, well, the truth is Brett Favre was a remarkable talent, better thrower, but he made a lot of mistakes. I would say, I don't know if I'd use Brett Favre as my Russell Wilson comparison, but I'll tell you this, if you think Andrew Luck is smart, and I do, he throws a lot of picks, a lot of them are dumb picks, and he gets hit a lot, and Russell Wilson doesn't either. So I don't know how you want to rank him, and I don't really care, but you can say whatever you want. In 4 games in the NFL, 16 TDs, no picks. Since 1950, only 2 quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, have a 100-plus passer rating. You can say whatever you want. He has led in every game since his sophomore year at North Carolina State. I don't know how to quantify that. I just think he looks different than everybody. He's smaller. He runs a little more. It's that zone read stuff. And too many people say, but Seattle's roster. Listen, Seattle's roster is not all that. It's not substantially better than New England's and Cincinnati's and Carolina's. They don't generally, until this year, have an elite wide receiver. Their offensive line's been sort of hit and miss and often injured. They let go of their top center, Max Unger, last year. The secondary, they lost an elite corner, so it's not as good. Their linebackers have been good. Their pass rush is sort of situational. It's sort of good sometimes, sort of not good sometimes. By the way, I got a lot of heat from somebody earlier. I was talking about grunge bands in Seattle, and I said Pearl Jam was #1 in Soundgarden, and somebody yelled at me and said, what about Alice in Chains? So I'm not an expert on grunge. I am not. John, are you an expert on grunge? Do you have a background in grunge?
I don't know that I have a background, but it's the music I listen to, yes.
Okay, do you have any Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, or Alice in Chains? Can I make a quick judgment on which is the best grunge band? That's Pearl Jam. Yeah, Pearl Jam was #1.
The point of your argument was that Pearl Jam is the only one that's still around now and still like a big deal.
Do you have any Alice in Chains?
I can get some.
Do you have some Soundgarden?
I can get some, yes.
Yes. There's nothing against Soundgarden. But I get all these grunge guys. You don't understand who #1 is. Listen, there is no #1 in music after the Beatles. We can argue about everybody except the Beatles.
Really? In all of music?
Well, the history of music, every critic of note lists the Beatles as the #1 band. Every, like Rolling Stone, all your top music critics say Beatles won with all their hits and how they changed music. And then there's a list of 40 bands we can argue over. I like U2. They're not generally considered a top 10 band.
What do you listen to in your car when you're not listening to talk radio?
Hits. XM Sirius. Hits. That's what I listen to.
Like top 100?
Yeah. Greg Cosell next. The Herd.
Guys, wouldn't your wife or girlfriend love it if you treated her to the very best this Christmas? Well, you can, and you don't even have to go out of your way. We're talking about the world's softest pajamas, available exclusively at pajamagram.com. That's pajamagram.com. Created by a team of dedicated pajama experts, the world's softest pajamas are lighter than a cloud, softer than a bunny, like cashmere, only better. Talk about dreamy. She'll love the way the world's softest pajamas feel. You'll love the way they caress every curve. More than a gift, they're a feeling, an invitation to linger a little longer. The world's softest pajamas are available only at pajamagram.com. Visit today and give her a gift that keeps on giving to both of you. You don't even have to wrap. Every pajamagram includes free gift packaging. Christmas delivery guaranteed. Visit pajamagram.com or call 1-800-GIVE-PJs.
Paying off credit cards can get expensive, and it can be an endless hassle to get a loan at a bank, which is why there is now another way to get the money you need at a competitive fixed interest rate without the hassles, fees, and risks. It's called Avant. Your loan through Avant can be approved in minutes, and money can be in your account in as little as 1 business day. And unlike peer lending sites, there are no costly origination fees for unsecured loans or waiting up to a week for the funds. So if you need a small or a substantial loan, go to Avant.com to check your interest rate. We think you're going to like what you see. Right now, Avant Avant will also give you a $50 Amazon.com gift card after your first installment is made on time. To check your rates with no effect on your FICO score and get this special offer, go to Avant.com today and enter promo code 1000 at checkout. That's www.avant.com, promo code 1000. Loans are made by WebBank and affiliates of Avant Inc. Funds are deposited for delivery next business day if approved by 4:30 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. FICO is a registered trademark of Fair Isaac Corporation. Amazon is not a sponsor of this promotion. Other restrictions apply. See website for details.
People's Bank is happy to announce that you can now find our name in an exciting new place. The home of the York Revolution is now People's Bank Park. People's Bank has been serving York County for more than 150 years, committed to making it a great place to live, work, and play. That commitment continues at People's Bank Park with Revs games, concerts, events, youth sports, and more. We're proud to partner with the York Revolution, and we look forward to seeing you at People's Bank Park. People's Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Sports Radio 1350 WOYK honors the Shipley Energy Student Athlete of the Week.
This week's Shipley Energy Boys Student Athlete of the Week is Kyle Wooldridge of Kennerdale Basketball. Wooldridge scored 53 points in a two-game span this week, including a 40-point outing in a loss to West York on Tuesday. He hit 9 three-pointers in 76-68 loss, and then followed that with 13 points against Susquehannock on Thursday. And this week's Shipley Energy Girls Student Athlete of the Week is Taylor Guyman of Southwestern Basketball. Guyman, a freshman, scored 18 points Thursday night, including 9 in the first quarter, to help her team to its first win over Dallastown in over 5 years. She also dropped 20 points in a win over York High. For Sports Radio 1350 WOYK, I'm Ray Jensen.
Get your home ready for fall and winter and sign up for the Shipley Energy Protection Plan. For more information, visit shipleyenergy.com.
Wondering what to get for gifts this year? There's only one.
Broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios at Santander Stadium. This is York's local sports show, talking low sports on York's local sports station. Welcome to Game Day with Gametime PA on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Teddy Feinberg here, joined by John Buffone and Zach Miller. John makes his way into the building right on cue. Zach, a late edition, Christian Arnold was going to be with us today, but some breaking news with the York Revolution. We are actually here now. It's now People's Bank Stadium. I got to get that right. People's Bank Park. Thank you, Daryl. People's Bank Park. I'm already getting it wrong. Highly professional.
You'll get it. You got plenty of practice. Plenty of time to practice.
Thank you, John. Yeah, formerly Santander Stadium. Name change today. We come to you live from this ballpark every single week. Thursdays, 4 to 5 p.m. on our live stream, 6 to 7 p.m. on WOIK Game Day with Gametime PA, talking all regional high school sports here. Again, Teddy Feinberg, John Buffone, Zach Miller. Guys, it's been a while. John, it's been a little bit longer for you since you've been on the program. Zach, it's been a couple weeks. How have things been going? John, start with you.
Going pretty well. I guess I got here just in the nick of time. As soon as I walked in, we started the broadcast like less than 5 seconds, and we were on.
I mean, the music was rolling, and you were strutting through the door. So it actually was pretty well. It was like a WWF.
Yeah, it was like my intro music. I like to be fashionably late. Things are going pretty well across the river. Fall's now over, and now we're getting. You wouldn't know it with the weather, but the winter sports are underway, and a lot of good basketball across the river. Great wrestling as well, and we're gonna hit on all this later, but we just shot 2 Ballers vs. Bloggers in Lancaster as well, so we're pretty excited about that as well.
Definitely one of the all-time classic video features we've ever done at Gametime PA. It continues to roll on. We'll get into that more later. Zach, what about you? How have things been?
Yeah, I think this is the first time I've been here since the winter season started. So
I think so.
Yeah, so it's been good. I mean, I like covering the wrestling. A lot of good wrestling out in Adams County and the Hanover area. So I've seen a few teams. I'll see a couple more tonight with New Oxford and Southwestern, and some good basketball too. So I'm excited to get into the winter season and to be back on the air.
No question. As always, we give out our game balls at the top of the program. Guys, I have a few standout athletes from your county that really perform well, but anyone on your guys' end that stood out from the past week that was?
Well, actually, last night I was covering a girls' basketball game at Lancaster Catholic, and senior forward Caroline Scarf got her 1,000 point last night. She only needed 6. She got 7, but she didn't play a lot in the second half because the Crusaders ended up beating Elko 70-27.
Her name stood out immediately when I went on the website. I'm like, Scarf. It's a great last name.
Yeah, and she has a brother, I believe, who plays football. Who's a walk-on football player at Rutgers. He's playing there now.
Okay.
So, athletic family, and she has been a force for the team since she was a freshman. Now, she hasn't been as big as a factor as she was a freshman, but she is obviously taking on a leadership role. That's a great team at Lancaster Catholic. They're going to be a really hard team to beat come playoff time. But it was a great atmosphere there because I forgot once you hit 1,000 points, they basically shut the game down for about 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, they do.
Then the parents came out and they hugged and there was pictures taken and things like that. And then all of a sudden you got to recharge yourself to get right back into the game because you had like this ceremony within the game.
How did that affect the flow of the game?
Well, it was odd because they were getting their pictures taken and everything, and all of a sudden like she had this like bouquet of flowers and she kind of just like tossed it off to the side and ran over because they had to get back into their full court trap all of a sudden. So, it didn't seem to affect them too much, but it was just kind of it's just odd how it all like, oh, this is so happy. I had pictures. Oh, crap, we got to get back into our
right, we have a game to play.
Yeah, so, but obviously they came out very victorious, but it was just a cool moment, so she would get my game ball of the week.
I've actually seen one of those between free throws, so drain the free throw, 1,000th point, stop, do the whole ceremony, and then come back for a second free throw.
Talk about icing the kicker there.
Yeah,
seriously.
What about you, Zach? Anyone?
I'll also go from some action from last night. Brendan Quinn, who is a DeLone Catholic wrestler. He's been at Southwestern for a couple years, junior varsity. He was never quite able to crack the varsity at Southwestern as a freshman or a sophomore. Obviously, that's a big school, a lot of good wrestlers. DeLone last night beat Littlestown 48-31. Quinn's match kind of turned it. It was Quinn's first varsity match of his career in a dual meet, and he had a big pin in a crazy back and forth match that pretty much sealed the deal for DeLone. So I'll go game ball to him.
Seems like a good choice. I had a couple 1,000-point scores of our own. Jordan Kloster at Northeastern. She's had a great year. She scored her 1,000-point actually early in the season. It seems like she's been scoring big every single time out for the Bobcats. She does it every single night, 20-plus points. So she got her 1,000th point recently, and so did Courtney Dimoff, Red Lion basketball. So that's 2 in the area that recently reached that accomplishment. Courtney also signed recently to attend Millersville University to play basketball, so nice accomplishment for her. Big week for her. Kyle Woldridge, Kennerdale basketball. You know, I take this seriously. I like to see a W put next to the player's name. And although his team did not win, he scored 40 points against West York. That's a ton of points. He dropped 9 3-pointers. I mean, you got to give him the
That's
nod.
crazy.
So, yeah,
Not for lack of effort, that's for sure.
He had a great year in football, too. I must say, he was a great wide receiver. They found him early and often in the game.
So he's the receiver that would put up like 200 yards a game and they would lose, and now he's dropping 40 points in basketball in losing efforts,
It was
too.
eerily similar. Like a team would pass for 280, Woldridge would have 210 receiving yards.
That's got to be frustrating for him.
Yeah, no, I mean, but there are players like that. I think of Dylan Krieger last year at Hanover.
Yeah.
The really big numbers. I think KD Hoops actually might make an impact. They really battled West York. West York is a good team this year. They just fell short. He followed that up with a 13-point effort. But obviously, when you see 40 points and 9 3-pointers drained, I mean, you know, it's gonna stand out.
Good day to have him on your fantasy team.
No question about it. You know, actually, I gotta say this. I think I'm punting on fantasy sports. I'm
What?
done. Yeah, I'm done.
Well, I've never been a daily fantasy sports person because I can't get into it. But I'm definitely still a long season term kind of guy. I like to draft. I like to have my lineup. I like to go down with the ship if I have to.
I'm with you there. The draft's the best part.
Yeah.
Hands
Oh
down.
yeah, hands down. And so I don't like to draft every day because I like the fact that if this is the team I drafted, if it blows up, then I have to do some emergency work to it. I don't want to be like, oh, just get a new team tomorrow. I think that's what quitters do. You know what? You
No
go out,
question.
you get the long-term fantasy, you stick to your team. That's how you play it.
So what's the reason, Teddy? I'm interested.
You know what it is, to be honest, and I think this is really, well, I think there's a handful of reasons. With sports, I'm all about the lunch bucket guy. I care.
So you'd like to draft like a center, and then
100%. No, that's exactly right. You know, I like the third line checking center. I like the offensive guard. I like the entire picture, and I find myself, I think it obviously devalues that type of player, and I just think after years of doing it, I'm starting to realize it's just stupid.
I kind of agree with this. I've never been a big fantasy guy either. And what drives me nuts, and this is kind of what you're talking about, is like, let's take a baseball player. Let's say he bunts and helps the team out with a good sacrifice bunt. He's hurting somebody's fantasy team, and that's just ridiculous that people are getting upset about
No,
that.
okay, this is not okay. The other night, watching Raiders Broncos. And there's a rookie wide receiver out of North Alabama who catches a touchdown. I forget his name. He's on the Raiders. Great throw from Carr, back corner, sliding grab. Mike, I would never own that guy in fantasy, but honestly, I should pick him up right now. I mean, that's the guy I want on my team.
So if there was a fantasy league where you had to pick people who just didn't start, let's say it's like a fantasy basketball team, nothing but bench players. That's the one that you're going
Scrap
for.
iron fantasy.
We got
a brand ad.
Yeah, that's exactly right. No, I've made this decision. So I think I'm going to try to break off all my leagues, but we'll see how that goes. How did the winter season end for you? I mean, how did things go?
Fall season?
Yeah, I'm sorry, the fall season.
There were some teams that were threatening in football. They all came. The two teams that made it the furthest would be Hempfield and Solanco. They fell short in the district semis. So that was kind of but they were good stories. So it was exciting to follow them.
That's
So
cool.
Solanco, was a team that was a cellar dweller for a long time, and they had like their transition year last year with a first year coach. They made the playoffs but got bounced in the first round. They brought everybody back, and they made it to the state the district semis, which is basically as far as that team's ever gone. So it was cool to watch that all unfold because those kids, some of those kids were on the teams that were they were the butt of most jokes in the LL, and all of a sudden they were the best team coming out in AAA. So it was just fun to kind of watch that journey unfold a little bit.
Yeah, that's always a good time. Now you were at Biglerville's final game of the year.
Yeah, I was.
I guess talk about just kind of how their season. They had a great season, but they obviously
did a really good season. Oh yeah, I mean, Wyomissing is just. I think I might have been on right after this game, and I feel like I've said this. Just Wyomissing at every single position, the kids were like twice the size. It was ridiculous. I don't know where they found these kids, but it made Bigler look like a JV team, and it was just ridiculous.
It's unbelievable when you see something like that.
Genetically modified.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Burke County and Wyomissing, but something's going on.
I mean, it's not even like it's like that far away. I mean,
It's all in the same district.
Yeah, no, it was just crazy to see a team. I mean, Biglerville, I saw them win a lot of big games all season and look like the bigger, better team. And then to go to Wyomissing and just look like an 8th grade team was pretty crazy. But I mean, obviously, it doesn't really take away from what they accomplished. And Wyomissing's been a powerhouse for a long time.
They had a great year, all things considered. John, Zach alluded to it earlier. We're getting involved in the winter season now. We have high school hoops. We are going to touch on high school football as well in segment 2. We're going to talk about kind of the nature of coaching departures. There's been a lot in the YAIAA, and I think universally there's a quicker trigger, if you will. We're going to kind of delve into some of the issues there. We're going to talk high school hoops in segment 3. John and Andrew Callahan are going to be broadcasting the Cedar Crest Central York game boys basketball game on Saturday, so we're going to preview that. We're going to talk other high school hoops action early in the season, and we're also going to talk in segment 4 about our social media expeditions, highlighted by John's Ballers vs. Bloggers video that he does, and that is consistently awesome. We will be back with segment 2, talking high school football and the pressure surrounding the coaching ranks when we return on Game Day with Gametime PA.
It's a Division I battle on high school basketball game of the week Friday night, presented by WellSpan Sport Medicine. I'm Ron Ruman. Andy Bria and I have the call as Red Lion visits Central. The Lions are fighting to get back into the Division I race after close losses to York High and Dallastown last week. Central is still unbeaten at 6-0. Can the Panthers keep the streak going? Find out Friday at 7 on your home for local sports. Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Here's today's high school basketball scoreboard for games played on Tuesday, December 15th. Tuesday evening saw the Golden Knights of Eastern York taking on the Northeastern Bobcats. Here's Ben Ferree with the report.
Northeastern cruises to a 73-51 victory over Eastern York at home. Both teams struggled to shoot to start the game, but at the start of the second quarter, Northeastern switched to a 1-3-1 defense that caused many Eastern turnovers and easy buckets for the Bobcats, which gave them a 9-point lead at the half. From that point on, Northeastern began to build their lead. Much of the lead was gained in the fourth quarter, where they outscored Eastern by 12. Donovan Maxfield led the Bobcats with 19, and Jeff Reynolds also added 17 with many crucial free throws late in the fourth quarter. Eastern was led by Jared Woods, who put up 21 to keep Eastern in the game. But Northeastern's offense was too much for the Golden Knights in the fourth quarter, as Northeastern defeats Eastern York 73-51. Reporting for Sports Radio 1350 WOYK, I'm Ben Ferree.
Tuesday evening also brought us the Central York Panthers facing off against the Dallastown Wildcats. Tony Nello has the details.
The Central York Panthers defeated the Dallastown Wildcats 55-47 on Tuesday. Central York senior Jared Wagner led all scorers with 21 points, 11 of which came at the free throw line. Dallastown junior Donovan Catchings and sophomore Brandon McGlynn both had 11 for the Wildcats. After being down 5 at halftime, the Wildcats fought back to tie the game at 36 going into the fourth quarter. But sloppy play by the Wildcats and a strong fourth quarter by Wagner led to the Panthers' win. Reporting for Sports Radio 1350 WOYK, I'm Tony Nello.
Other scores from around the league include Littlestown's 62-54 win over Biglerville. York Country Day took down Carson Long 70-37. Hanover toppled the Lone Catholic 41-37. Gettysburg defeated Kennerdale 54-35. William Penn rolled over New Oxford 71-47. Spring Grove was victorious over Southwestern 60-42. Dover winners over West York 62-40. York Catholic defeated York County Tech 79-50. Susquehannock won a close one against York Suburban 53-51, and Bermudian Springs toppled Fairfield 44-37.
People's Bank is happy to announce that you can now find our name in an exciting new place. The home of the York Revolution is now People's Bank Park. People's Bank has been serving York County for more than 150 years, committed to making it a great place to live, work, and play. That commitment continues at People's Bank Park with Revs games, concerts, events, youth sports, and more. We're proud to partner with the York Revolution, and we look forward to seeing you at People's Bank Park. People's Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
At Northwestern Mutual, we take a disciplined and balanced approach to financial planning. Together, we'll help build your financial future on time-tested principles, not market trends, so you can take advantage of life's opportunities. To learn more, contact me, Dan McGarry, at my office on a square in York. Look for the blue awnings. Who's helping you build your financial future? The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Hi, I'm Red Lion Boys basketball coach Steve Schmale. You're listening to Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
welcome back. Game Day with Gametime PA here on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. You can watch us on our live stream at GametimePA.com. We are on there 4 to 5 p.m. every Thursday talking high school sports. We are on the radio, WOYK 1350, 6 to 7 every single Thursday. Teddy Feinberg, John Buffone, Zach Miller. We're here from People's Bank Park.
There you go.
Yeah, in York City, the newly branded ballpark of the York
Getting
Revolution.
better. Getting better.
Thank you. High school football. We talked about this last week. You guys obviously were not present last week, and it becomes a story, obviously. There's been a lot of departures the last 2 seasons, the head coaching ranks locally, whether it's coaches just departing, like a Ron Miller who elects to step away, or a coach essentially getting his walking papers handed to him, as Eastern York did this past week with Dave Kamek. Became a talking point the last couple weeks because longtime Central York coach Brad Livingston also appears to have a tenuous future at Central, and there's been a lot in the media about that. Coach Livingston's been with the program for 46 years, which is just an astounding number, and he's been the head coach there 30 plus years. So we're certainly not going to sit here and say they've had a quick trigger with him, because that would be unfair. Right. He just has been there a very long time, so the change is a little jarring. If the change does happen, it has not been official yet. By any
the
stretch
fact that it's even being discussed, like, it puts him in a weird position, even if they were to not.
In a very public forum.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Well, everybody involved, the players, the assistants, the parents. I mean, it's like you said, it's awkward because you don't know how to approach it until you actually have some result, whether he does or does not.
I had a high school basketball coach in high school. That was my freshman year, and there was a situation. It wasn't this public. Well, he had only been there for a year, but something had happened, and I think they're going to get rid of him, and then they changed their minds, and he just left after that on his own, because at that point he felt like he was going to have to be looking over his shoulder the whole time after that, because there had already been this controversy surrounding him.
Yeah, it creates an unstable. It is his main job now to make sure those boys or girls are better people when they go out of the season as what they were coming in. If you can form young minds when they need formed the most, when they are the most impressionable, when they are figuring out who they are as people, if you can help mold them into a better person at the end of the season, then you are a good coach. I don't care what your record says, and I don't care about how these, if you're not winning, you're not doing your job, or your worth is based on how many W's you have. That's how most of these kids who are D1 recruits get themselves in trouble to begin with, because they're coddled on, are you winning, are you losing? If you're not winning, then you have no self-worth. If you aren't breaking these records, then you're not a good person. You need someone to say, you know what, there's something outside of wins and losses, and if you're a good coach, you should be able to figure that out.
Don Seidenstricker, who's the man.
Yes, he is the man.
So, Southwestern AD, former football coach. He had a lot of success as the coach at that program, and now he's an administrator, and he's very good with us. He talks often about issues that some people, frankly, want. He has a knack for talking about complicated issues and articulating it very well and fairly. Some people are just like that. He seems to be like that. So in any event, he said exactly what you said. He said sport in high school is designed to teach a young person how to deal with adversity, fighting through difficult times, perseverance, patience.
Right.
And these are the exact opposite things it's starting to teach.
Now you're teaching, well, if you don't win this season, your team's a loser. We got to get a new coach, find somebody who is going to do that. And if you can't do that, we're going to find that. I mean, what are you actually teaching somebody? And I'm not trying to be Mr. Politically Correct, saying I don't care about wins and losses, because I'm one of the most competitive people anybody will ever meet. But what I'm saying is, at this level, whenever I was, and I even
100%,
and I coached elementary basketball for 3 years, and we won out of 3 years. I think we might have won 4 games, but
I mean, an atrocious team.
Absolutely,
but the coaches were not on the chopping block.
I was when I was coaching them, and I could tell that they and I'm going on a little anecdote here, and I'm sorry if I'm wasting up too much of the time.
No, please.
But I knew that I was doing a good job after that team when we were 0-10. This is the 6th grade team. We were 0-10, and I was making them run. And I don't know what the actual right word to say this is. We were running the.
We know what you're talking about.
You know what you're talking about. You foul line.
The line touches.
Yeah. Whatever you call them now. So
I don't know if that's what you call them. I just made it up.
I know what I called them, but I don't know what the politically correct is to call them now. But anyway, I was making them run that, and I said, if you don't do this under a certain time, we're running it again. And then we ran it again, and they didn't get it because there was one kid who was always the last. So I said whoever doesn't make it under this time has to run another one. So that kid was the only person who didn't make it under that time.
Whole team ran.
Whole team
Yeah.
didn't have to say a thing. They ran it. Whenever they were halfway through, I blew the whistle. Said practice is
That's
over.
when
We're
you
done.
knew- yeah,
Where, you know what?
yeah.
Where we did what we accomplished what we need to accomplish. So I'm way off track here. But wanted to
That's
bring
a good story, though. I enjoy that story.
But I understand. Continue because I know what you're getting at.
To bring it all around, what I'm saying is when you're in an elementary, middle school, high school level, your main job, if you're a coach and your main job is I need some glory, I need some trophies in the case, then you're not a good coach. You may be maybe you can say you're a good coach, but you're not a there's a different definition. Maybe you're good X and O's, but you're not a good coach, because I don't know if that's really what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be able to be preparing young men and women for what they're going to be experiencing in the next stage of their life.
I remember my freshman year of high school, I had a coach who, frankly, I'm not going to sit here and say I was a diehard fan, but he actually was a very good coach looking back. It's funny because I actually find that a lot of the coaches that I may not have really liked actually ended up, I look back on and say they had the greatest impact on my life. I mean, he was actually a good coach, but I was like, look, this isn't working. And my folks were like, you're going to find a way to make it work. I mean, if that means you come off the bench for the season, then that's what you're going to do. Right. But you're not going to quit. I mean, this is like the least of your problems moving forward in life.
Oh, yeah.
You got to find a way to make it work. There's just a difference. I think we live in a much more impatient society for whatever reason.
That goes without saying.
That goes without being said. I think there's a trickle-down effect. I mean, you touched on everything. Sipes' column talked about the workload and the insanity. And let's also be honest, Coach Ramos in Sipes' story, Biglerville's coach, he's like, dude, I didn't even feel really I didn't feel like it was completely like my program, like arms year 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
like there's a little bit of time that goes into this process.
Right, and Coach Ramos is.
He had some great quotes. By the way.
And he's kind of interesting. I've had experiences with him where he'll tell me like don't call me after a certain time. That's my time with my family, and I respect that. That's something John was talking about, where it becomes difficult and coaches aren't able to balance their personal life and their coaching life, but he makes a really strong effort to do that. He's really invested in what's going on in the community. He'll talk after big wins. He'll talk for several minutes about how important it was for the community and how the community rallied around his kids and everything. So he's a guy that really seems to get it and get what it's about. It's not he wants to win. Like, don't get me wrong. He's a competitive guy and he wants to win, but it's not all about wins and losses for him.
I'm with you, and it really came across in that story.
Right, and it's true, because that's been my experience with him this year as well.
Yeah, he had some classic quotes. He's like, I've been here 6 years. Like, how am I like the elder statesman? I mean,
it is crazy, yeah.
I think that you guys bring up, great points. There's just something. I mean, even Coach Kemick at Eastern York. I mean, the guy went 11-10, and he's not coming back next year. And I don't think I was expecting them to be the 85 Bears this year or anything. I mean, they suffered some injury at running back. It's tough, and I just think. But again, we just live in a much more impatient world, and the parents, I think that the expectation level from, why isn't my kid getting a scholarship, or why isn't he, it's like, just chill out.
There's too many
priorities are different.
Way too many parents are living vicariously through their kids right now, because maybe they didn't get the scholarship or they didn't do that, and they're trying to put their kids in this high pressure situation where you do this and then you're going to get the scholarship and you're going to do that, and they're going to end up raising a robot. I don't like that. And what happens that a robot eventually 100%. Breaks down. So, I mean, be a parent. Don't be a drill sergeant.
Yeah, and there's too many people in the ears of athletic directors and coaches and kind of giving their opinions. And when a coach, like, I don't know what happened with Kemick at Eastern York. I obviously have no idea. But he, if he went 11-10, maybe there's some parents who don't like him for whatever reason. And they're in the athletic director's ear, and it could be something like that, because that happens around everywhere with youth sports.
If it wasn't there, it's certainly somewhere else.
Right, exactly.
It's happened. I mean, even in the college ranks, you'll see your big money booster. A lot of time the AD might not want to get rid of a coach, but the big money booster's like, I'm not donating.
Right, exactly.
Well, you've seen instances where coaches were hired and the boosters get mad because they weren't consulted, and like, since when is it important what you think?
I didn't see you as a football expert. I
Where,
just saw you.
where are
with
your
deep pockets.
qualities to say you should have input on who the football coach is because you have money, and that's when
That happens all the
everything's money driven. Once you get maybe outside of high school, I don't know if it's actually made it to the high school ranks yet, but yeah, I mean, once you get to that, it's all driven by money.
You know what's another trend I've actually noticed with coaches? I noticed this in college this season with all the coaches switching places. A lot of coaches are going back to their alma mater. Like that happened with Georgia, happened with Miami. Mizzou's new coach is a Mizzou guy, and like some of the new coaches that were hired this past year in high schools around here, Kyle Sprinkle at Spring Grove is a Spring Grove guy. Corey Zortman at DeLone Catholic is a DeLone Catholic guy, and I don't know. I mean, it has nothing to do with what we were talking about before, but it's another trend that I've kind of noticed is that schools, college or high school, are wanting their own guys.
And I think a lot of those coaches want to go there as well, because I think whenever you feel like a community has given you something, you want to be able to give something back. And going to my hometown, I have a best friend who played basketball. He played college basketball. What he ever wanted to do was coach at our high school.
That's
so
awesome.
he went through the ranks, and all of a sudden he is the head coach there for the girls team now. Because the theory, and that's not just him. There's a lot of people out there who are just like, this is a program I came from. I want to make sure it is strong when I come back.
And on the flip side of the coin, administratively, the theory is we need someone that can connect with the community, and we bring this person back. They understand the fabric and the gravity.
That's important. And especially small knit communities where if you're from that town, chances are most of your family's in that town as well.
100%.
So you might have there's plenty of connections to go around, and you're more inclined to listen to somebody who I coached while my little brother was playing. When he was playing football, he was on the varsity team. I was a coach on that staff. Those kids listened to me because they knew me through my little brother. So you find these connections where you're able to just keep
like that's John. His uncle played at Wrigley Field, and Kyle drive us.
Yeah, and you go through the school. You walk through the school where there you see the banners go on the wall, and you know that. And when you walked into our old high school, we saw my uncle's jersey hanging there on there. So it built up credibility kind of thing. So I mean, these close-knit communities where you have a connection to, I think the kids will always respond better.
I think it's important.
It makes it more worthwhile too, with all the pressures. If you're actually invested in it, and it's not just a job to you, a job in some town you're not from, it's a little different.
Yeah. If you don't see it as a stepping stone, like that's your destination, you're more inclined to throw yourself into it.
Exactly.
The interesting thing is, in a sense, it's kind of counterintuitive to the whole conversation we just had, because in a way that's almost looking for a certain sense of stability, if that makes any sense. Like there's the quick turnover rate, but wait, we're looking for the local guy, to build around. So it's interesting.
But I feel like those school districts get it, and they want a community guy who's going to make a positive impact in the community, and they're not necessarily so concerned with wins and losses.
Hey, I want to say right now, Coach Sprinkle, that team exceeded my expectations this year. I thought they had a very solid year. 500 record, went to districts.
Mr. Govern just left, but I mean, he's an athletic director that I think really got it. Got what it was about, and so if he made that hire, I trust that he saw that he's. I don't think Coach Sprinkle's in this because he wants a college job next. You know what I mean? I think he's in this because he's invested in Spring Grove, and he's invested in the town.
Those are the guys you want to keep long term.
Exactly.
Yeah. Great stuff, guys. We're going to come back. We're going to talk high school hoops, headlined by Central York, Cedar Crest. We'll be back. Game day with Gametime PA.
It's a Division I battle on the high school basketball game of the week Friday night, presented by WellSpan Sports Medicine. I'm Ron Ruman. Andy Bria and I have the call as Red Lion visits Central. The Lions are fighting to get back into the Division I race after close losses to York High and Dallastown last week. Central is still unbeaten at 6-0. Can the Panthers keep the streak going? Find out Friday at 7 on your home for local sports. Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Here is today's high school basketball scoreboard for games played on Tuesday, December 15th. Tuesday evening saw the Rockets get together with the Southwestern Mustangs in an absolute classic. Here is Cade Burdett with the report.
It was a back-and-forth game all the way until halftime. Star guard Eli Brooks had 17 at the half, and the Rockets led 22-19. To start the second half, Southwestern came out with an 8-0 run, 6 of those from guard Brock Guyman, but a few minutes later, Brooks responded with 3 3-point shots to take the lead back. In the fourth, the Rockets pulled away, started with 3 from Grant Weirman back-to-back with a dunk from Brooks, who fell on his back after the dunk but was fine. The Rockets outscored the Mustangs 26-8 in the fourth and would go on to win 60-42. Eli Brooks led the way with 30 points and 5 rebounds, while for the Mustangs, Guyman had 21 points. Reporting for Sports Radio 1350 WOYK, Cade Burdett.
Tuesday also brought us the Susquehannock Warriors facing off with the York Suburban Trojans. Trojans. Here's Eliza Kravitz with the report.
The Warriors jumped out at an early lead, but the Trojans fought back and were ahead by 4 at halftime. At halftime, the score was Suburban 27, Susquehanna 23. In the third quarter, the Warriors regained control due to 3 three-pointers, 1 from Josh Stoneberg and 2 from Adam Hedgeland. In the last 3 minutes of the game, the Warriors made 6 out of 7 free throws and sealed off their win. The Warriors won the game with a score of 53-51. I'm Eliza Kravitz.
Other scores from around the league include Bermudian Springs' 44-37 win over Fairfield. York Catholic took down York County Tech 79-50. The Dover Eagles were victorious over the West York Bulldogs 62-40. The York High Bearcats rolled over the New Oxford Colonials 71-47. The Gettysburg Warriors took down the Kennardale Rams 54-35. The Hanover Nighthawks were victorious over the DeLone Catholic Squires 41-37. Northeastern defeated Eastern York 73-51. The Central York Panthers took down a very good Dallastown Wildcats team 55-47. York Country Day handled Carson Long 70-37, and Littlestown defeated Biglerville 62-54.
Did you know that Shipley Energy can take care of all your energy needs? From heating oil and propane to providing your home with electricity and natural gas. We also provide heating and air conditioning service and installation. All of your energy needs are under one roof at Shipley Energy. To learn more, visit shipleyenergy.com. Call 855-4-SHIPLEY and don't forget to ask about our $100 rebate. Shipley Energy. Energy for life.
Security in life isn't something you just wish for. You build it with a strong financial plan. Start with Northwestern Mutual. Together, we'll design a disciplined and balanced approach to financial security because reaching your goals is something we both want to work toward. To learn more, contact me, Dan McGarry, at my office on the Square in York. Look for the blue awnings. Who's helping you build your financial future? The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Hi, I'm West York boys basketball coach Bill Ackerman. You're listening to Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
Welcome back. Game Day with Gametime PA here on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. GameTimePA.com for our 4 to 5 p.m. live stream. WOYK for our 6 to 7 broadcast. We're here from People's Bank Park in New York City. John Buffone and Zach Miller coming at us as always. I am Teddy Feinberg. We are talking high school hoops here in segment 3 of our hour-long program, and we are going to start talking about Central York at Cedar Crest boys basketball. They play Saturday. They had an instant classic last year, a 50-48 final that I want to say Cedar Crest won the game, or am I mistaken?
I believe so, yeah.
50-48 final. They meet again this time at Cedar Crest, and this time John Buffone is going to be on the call. He is going to be because he's joining Andrew Callahan. So who is Mike Tirico and who's Hubie Brown? I mean,
I don't know yet. We're still going to be trying to figure out our personalities. I believe I'm going to yield the play-by-play duties over to Andrew because that's what he likes doing, and I enjoy doing the.
So you'll be Hubie Brown.
Yeah,
that's great.
Essentially,
He's great.
So yeah, I'll be doing
Hubie
more
Brown.
of the analysis and throwing in anecdotes from who knows when, but
It's like that was clearly a moving screen.
Yes, yeah. So I'll
How did
try
nobody
to,
see that?
Yeah. So yes, it should be an entertaining call. That game's at Cedar Crest. I believe it's a 7:30 start on Saturday. You can watch it on GameTimePA.com if you can't make it to the game. I think it's going to be another good one.
I do too.
Cedar Crest obviously has Evan Horn, who is arguably the best athlete in the LL. I believe if this kid wanted to play table tennis at the next level, he probably could.
I just got to say this about Horn. So I go into our photo archive and I write in Horn.
Mm-hmm.
20 horns come up, all playing like tight end and fullback.
Yep.
I'm like, what is this? He is a great athlete, a sensational basketball player.
Yeah, still hasn't made it a commitment yet. That we thought it might be coming a couple weeks ago, but I mean, offers keep rolling in for him to play football and basketball. He doesn't know if he wants to play football or basketball. Some schools say they want him to play both.
You could be in a worse position.
So I mean, there are worse problems to have. I'm saying, but I mean, yeah, he's a sensational athlete, and right now they graduate a lot of players from their last year's team, but they're still trying to find their identity a little bit. But so far throughout the box scores, the games, Evan's going to get his points, and then it comes down as far as scoring goes. It's like who's going to step up. They have a good forward in Ferreira there. He's a 6'3" guy, kind of an all-around guy. Ramey Ferreira, there his first name was escaping me. Also, they got another guard in Isaiah Trimble who can hit in double digits as well. They defeated Conestoga Valley last night, but it was a very close game and they almost gave it away. And then after the game, Evan Horn only scored 8 points, and I was talking to Andrew Callahan of the Lebanon Daily News. He said that might be the worst game he's had in 3 years.
And maybe seriously.
And because of that, and this is what Andrew told me, and as I'm assuming this is true because it goes along with the character of the kid. He asked the janitor for the keys to the gym because after the game he just wanted to shoot to perfect his shot a little bit because he was so upset with himself.
That's such a Kobe Bryant story.
He stayed in the gym and worked on his shot throughout the night. So
it's also that the janitor was like, "Yeah, no problem. Here you go."
Yeah, here you go. Here's the keys.
If I'm the janitor, I'm just like, yo, man, definitely.
Do what you gotta do.
Yeah, the kid has the keys.
Yeah, and it's going to be another interesting dynamic to this game is because that Cedar Crest has McCaskey tomorrow, and that is a heavyweight matchup in Section 1.
That's a really interesting dynamic.
Two of the best athletes in the LL, Kobe Yance from McCaskey, Evan Horn from Cedar Crest. These two teams are always vying for the Section 1 title. This is going to go a long way in measuring what the Section race is going to look like. So even if they win, that's a huge emotional win. If they lose, it's a huge emotional loss. How do they re-energize themselves in less 24 hours to host Central York? That's going to be something that they're going to have to really take into effect. And I know kids are resilient, but whenever you want the biggest rival in the league, you take on Friday. If you win, are you going to be flying high and not really mentally prepared for Central York? Or if you lose, are you still going to be thinking about that McCaskey game and thinking, well, I can't believe we lost to McCaskey, and you go into that Central York game? So I think it is going to, maybe not a lot, but I think it will be a little bit.
Now, Cedar Crest, if I'm not mistaken, actually, so Andrew was in the office the other day picking up the live stream equipment, so me and him were catching up, and he said that because I was like, oh, they have Horn. That was my immediate, they have Horn. They're the team of Horn. So that was my immediate surface reaction.
That's most people's reaction.
But he was like, well, they're replacing a lot of starters. So they're somewhat a team that's still probably trying to find somewhat of an identity around.
Absolutely,
Horn.
and they have the tools to do it, but they're just I don't want to say they're learning on the fly, but they're gaining experience, and we're only in the first quarter of the season, so they're going to get there's no question in my mind they're going to get progressively better. But this week is going to be a great test because they take on McCaskey, who also lost a lot, but once again they're one of the heavyweights in Section 1, and then they get Central York on Saturday.
That's why you schedule tough early and often, period, point blank. As for Central York trying to find an identity, we talked about it last week a little bit. Charlie Gingrich, their big man, did not return to the team this year. They also lost Sam Saxon, who was a great guard. He graduated in the traditional sense, so they lost two big bodies there. I got to tip my hat to Kevin Schuyler and the boys, though, man. That team, they play small ball right now. They're guard-heavy team. They're off to a 6-0 start. This is obviously going to be a great test on the road on Saturday, but they're off to a very good start to their season. Honestly, I didn't see it coming after I heard they lost kind of their linchpin in the middle, if you will, but you got to tip your hat to them. Very well-coached team, and like I said, 6-0 start, so that'll definitely be one to watch. Moving to the Hanover region, Zach, what's caught your attention early in the season?
Yeah, I'm going to go over to the girls' side. I did a story before the season about Taylor Guyman, the freshman who I had heard that she was going to be a pretty good player, but I saw her in action last week, and she is as good as advertised, maybe better. I mean, she can do everything.
She's a freshman, correct? And she's the one that's maybe there's some college interest already.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Just to talk about already. That's like the whole.
I mean, yeah, big colleges. That's what we've been hearing. But yeah, she's 6 feet tall, and she can dribble, she can shoot, she can do everything. It's insane. Like she's only a freshman. She's probably the best high school girls basketball player I've seen.
Really?
In 3 different states that I've seen high school girls basketball.
That's pretty bold.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't even imagine if she keeps growing, and I'm sure she'll keep getting better. It could be scary for some teams in this league. I was talking to Dallastown's coach after they faced her, and she was like, yeah, I can't believe I'm going to have to defend her for 4 years.
They have a good team. I mean, you look at it realistically, and I think in D2 or D3, or D1. God, what's wrong with me? So in D1, you have Redline, you have Central, but Southwestern figures to be there too. I mean, they're good.
Yeah, I mean, with Taylor, they can contend with anybody if she really gets going, because it's tough to stop her, because you either got to put a big girl on her that she's just going to blow right by, or you put a much smaller girl to match the speed, and it's just a matchup nightmare. It's like NBA teams trying to deal with LeBron James. I picture it being very similar to that.
At that point, you just try to double team and
hope
try
for the best.
try to make somebody else beat you. But I mean, sometimes that doesn't work either. So.
I mean, if she's LeBron, we have to get multiple
Well, yeah.
reporters at that game.
Yeah.
I think we're undercover.
She's not LeBron yet.
But she's obviously been a standout.
Yeah, definitely. Like when people ask me, like, "Oh, how's Southwestern look?" I'm like, "Look, if you have time, like, go watch her play. She's
it's worth to check it out."
Player, yeah.
And what you just said brought up to another, and it's strange what you just said, because I feel the same way about a girl basketball player in Lancaster. Her name's Kiki Henderson. She's a freshman at Lancaster Catholic. She's 5'11", faster than everybody on the court, jumps higher than her. She had a block last night against Elko that had me in my prime, had I been taking it up to the basket, one-handed up, she would have her knees would have been at my forehead, because she got so far up. She basically smacked the ball, almost palmed it, and just banged it against the wall. I was in shock when I saw it.
I mean, there are times as a reporter where you're like, wow, my mouth is wide open right now.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. She scored 30 in a game earlier the week. She was in complete control of the game last night until they took the starters out, and she set most of the second half. But there are some freshman phenoms in District 3, I can tell you that, just from hearing about the girl you were talking about, Zach, and Kiki Henderson in Lancaster Catholic, who was a freshman, and you look at her play, it's just like she would beat most of the most of the boys.
Imagine some of these district games in 3 years. It'd be crazy.
Goodness, yeah.
But that might be a trend topic for another time, is just kids actually better younger. I mean, honestly, like freshmen are like, you're like, this kid looks like a junior or senior. What am I looking at?
It's the impatient society we were talking about.
I mean, it's like, you know what? It's just it's advanced. Like those kids are advanced. I will say in your neck of the woods, Hanover's gotten off to a good start on the boys' side of things.
Yeah, in Division 3, they obviously lost a ton from last season. Not just Creer, but like I think 8 other seniors they lost also, 9 total. And yeah, they've still been able to beat Biglerville, beat DeLone Catholic the other day. Like they're despite what they lost, they're still maybe the best team, definitely contention in the division. I mean, I'm sure York Catholic might think they're the contender too, but Hanover hasn't completely fallen off the map by any means.
Yeah, and DeLone Catholic, I think that they will find their sea legs. It's early in the year still.
Yeah, I mean the talent's there. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with them, but I mean,
Coach Williams is fairly outspoken.
Oh, he's very outspoken. Yeah.
I mean, if he sees something he doesn't like, and the quote is going to be in black and white.
Yeah, I feel like he's one of those guys that tries to motivate his players through what goes in print.
There's not a lot of sugarcoating those quotes. They're pretty.
Reporters love those.
What you see is, I literally am reading that story. I'm just like, wow, that's straightforward, gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, he's the kind of guy that in our preseason questionnaire picked his own team to win the division. Like he's that kind of a guy.
Yeah, there's no beating around the bush. I'll say this in York County, Central York Redline on the girls' side, both teams are undefeated. Both teams are 6-0. Both teams are facing each other Friday night at 7:30 p.m. That's at Redline High School. That'll be a great contest. Again, Division 1 girls hoops, YIAA. They're going to be right there when it's all said and done. Northeastern boys also off to a 5-0 start. They're visiting York Suburban tomorrow night, so those are some games to keep an eye on. John, swinging it back to you, Manheim Township. They made the transition, I believe, to Section 1.
Well, I'm probably not going to be able to talk about them too much throughout the rest of the year, so I wanted to talk on this now. They're 3-3, they're 0-3 in the league. They're towards the bottom of Section 1, but they brought in Matt Johns to be their head coach. Now, people around here might think that name's familiar because he was the head coach at Columbia last year, not too far away from York. So he was able to take Columbia, who was the smallest school in the Lancaster-Lebanon League, got them into the district tournament and they had to play a play-in game to get in. They ended up going to the district finals, losing to Trinity, got their first state win in 20 years last year. Wow. And then due to some circumstances where the Manheim Township coach left before the season, Matt Johns got the job at Manheim Township in October. So like he had very little time to get these.
Not a big window there.
Not a whole lot of window to get this started. But they had a game this week where they beat Conestoga Valley basically on a buzzer beater by David Nemeo. It was a 3-pointer with 1.2 seconds left. They were down by 14 in the second quarter, and they ended up coming back. The reason I'm talking about this is because when you think Section 1, you think of McCaskey, you think of Hempfield, you think of Cedar Crest. Those are the three that are usually going for the section title, at least in recent history. But with Matt Johns, he's one of my favorite coaches in the LL because he's straightforward about everything. The guy lives and breathes basketball 24/7, and he is so straightforward about his team. He was talking to me. He's like, you know what? We're not a great shooting team. He's like, and to be honest, we're not a very good shooting team. But he's like, we're going to find the things that we do well, and we're going to try to do them as well as we can. Even when I showed him,
good coach right there.
And I showed him a replay of the final shot that ended up winning the game for him, and he's looking at it. He's like, we didn't run that right at all. And he was still dissecting the final play. He's like, that wasn't what we were supposed to run. He's like, we got lucky. And so he wasn't even taking the full credit for the game-winning shot that he drew up. Classic. So I think that if you're a Township fan, you should be pretty excited because this is a great coach you got, and he is fully invested. He turned a Columbia team where the tallest kid was like 5'10", maybe the tallest kid was that, and he turned those kids into a gritty bunch who wouldn't accept defeat, didn't care who the opponent was, they were going in to win, and he took this small team into the state playoffs, and now he's at a quad A school where he has much taller kids, a little more to pick and choose from. I think you're going to see a lot, maybe not this year, but in 2-3 years, I think Manheim Township could have a very good program.
I love the philosophy of we are not going to ask our players to do something they're not good at. We are going to play to their strengths. I think good coaches do that. I'm not a fan of unless you're coaching at the University of Alabama football team, I don't like the whole system thing because I like that.
He's able to assess what he has, and last year he made halftime adjustments that, okay, we are getting absolutely crushed underneath. We got to switch the defenses up a little bit. We're not getting rebounds. We got to switch this up. Okay, we're not able to get the ball underneath the basket. We got to try to spurt it out and do some more ISO stuff. So he's like I said, if you follow him on Twitter, all he does is watch basketball and break it down, and then whenever he's coaching, he just loves basketball. So I think the Township got a real gem there.
Sounds that way. For sure. Well, we're approaching the end here. We have about 5 minutes to go, maybe 10. We'll be back game day with Gametime PA taking to the 5 p.m. on the live stream.
People's Bank is happy to announce that you can now find our name in an exciting new place. The home of the York Revolution is now People's Bank Park. People's Bank has been serving York County for more than 150 years, committed to making it a great place to live, work, and play. That commitment continues at People's Bank Park with Revs games, concerts, events, youth sports, and more. We're proud to partner with the York Revolution, and we look forward to seeing you at People's Bank Park. People's Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The puck drops here.
Wellman, the shot, score!
Sports Radio 1350, your home for Hershey Bears hockey.
Casey Wellman has won it in overtime for Hershey.
And the Washington Capitals.
Here in a shot, they score!
Defending the Den and rocking the red all season. Catch the Bears and the Caps on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
It's the Division I battle on the high school basketball game of the week Friday night, presented by WellSpan Sports Medicine. I'm Ron Ruman. Andy Bria and I have the call as Red Lion visits Central. The Lions are fighting to get back into the Division I race after close losses to York High and Dallastown last week. Central is still unbeaten at 6-0. Can the Panthers keep the streak going? Find out Friday at 7 on your home for local sports. Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Get ready for winter now and save big on your heating oil or propane costs. Call today to schedule your first fill. And don't forget to ask our energy advisors about the right money-saving plan or budget to fit your lifestyle. Lock in your rate and protect your price all winter. Our price-protected customers save an average of $325 per year. Visit ShipleyEnergy.com or call 855-4-SHIPLEY. And don't forget to ask about our $100 rebate. Shipley Energy. Energy for life.
Hi, I'm York High Boys basketball coach Troy Sowers. You're listening to Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
We're back game day with Gametime PA here on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK, live from People's Bank Park here in York. That's the home of the new Revs Park. It's going to be great. Well, it's not the new Revs Park. It's the same park. They have a new name.
You were doing so well. And
then I just fumbled the ball.
Well.
Thank you, John.
Well, I like to be honest. I like to be upfront.
100%.
That's the only way you get better.
Teddy Feinberg, John Buffone, Zach Miller taking you to 5 p.m. on our Game Time PA live stream, 6 to 7 on the radio dial. John, we are going to talk about our social media expeditions on our GameTimePA.com website, and it's highlighted once again this week by your ballers versus bloggers video. You take the field against local student athletes. I'm not going to sit here and say you embarrass yourself by one iota, because honestly, you're giving it the best shot you can. There's no embarrassment in that. The reality is you're typically getting smoked out there.
Yeah, that's true. And
this was at Peckway Valley.
Yeah,
the
most recent one was the one at Peckway Valley against the football team in a NFL combine-like competition. I did the 40-yard dash against their fullback Gabe Allgaier. I did a kicking.
Did not win.
Did not win. Although if I had cleats on, I think I would have done a little bit better. Then I did the kicking contest with their kicker, Dalton Aldrich, I believe is his name, and I actually made 1 out of 3, which is more than what I thought I was going to make from the extra point. We went for the left hash, the right hash, and straight on from the extra point line. And then we did the bench press competition, which, if I was ever going to retain some of my dignity, I did win that one. So I won 1 out of 3, but I needed 2 to win the whole competition. So they ended up winning again. They got the Ballers vs. Bloggers trophy.
Was this single rep?
No, it was we were seeing how many could do the most of 200.
Okay. Go ahead.
Their lineman was able to do 7, I believe, and I stopped at 10.
I just want to say the fact there's a traveling trophy with this series makes it all the more worth it. I think it's been in John's living room for about 3 days over the past year, but I'd still like.
It's only there for transitions whenever it goes from school to school. But it was a lot of fun. The last one, which I've done 2 pretty close in between each other. The last one was a soccer ballers versus bloggers, where I took on Emily Workin of Cocalico girls soccer, and it was into PKs, and I had to stop at least 3 out of 5 to win, or she had to make 3 out of 5 to win. I stopped 2. It came down to the last kick, and she smoked me. I think she took it easy on me.
I'll be like, I was on the edge of my seat for that one.
She got 2 by me. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a long day. And then I stopped the 3rd one, and I stopped the 4th one, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling. I was feeling myself a little bit. I'm like, oh, I got this. I'm feeling loose. And then she just drove one right by me to end it.
I'm actually curious about the reaction of the student athlete when you go out and perform in these things. I mean, is it kind of like an embracing thing, or are they kind of like what's going? I mean, what is the reaction?
It's surprisingly positive, because whenever I show, and it's even better as we keep doing it, because they get to watch previous episodes and they get to see what it's all about. The guys at Peckway Valley were so awesome. I'm like, you guys, it's so, like, because they were at first, they were like, is it okay if you like make fun of you? I'm like, I want you to make fun of me. I want you to take shots at me.
Yeah, it's like, please, this is TV.
No, so they embraced it. The one kicker said he thinks he was going to do all right. He said my calves were going to get in the way, and then we were going to do the bench press competition. Lineman's like, he started flexing for the camera, and he's like chicken legs doesn't have anything on me. He's making fun of me, and Gabe, the fullback, he's like, well, he is an old man and he's pretty out of shape. So they did a fantastic job. They were playing to the camera so well. They did everything. I don't coach these kids on what to say. So everything they say on there is them. That's their personality shining through. We had a lot of fun filming that one. I had a lot of fun filming the soccer one. I had a great time doing all of them. The wrestling one that I did was, I got my butt kicked, but
that one was hilarious. You were like in a figure 4 leg lock, like playing the Hammer Valentine.
Yeah, I was in a singlet, and I also had my Rey Mysterio Jr. mask on for a little while, and then it all started whenever we did the basketball one with Matt Walsh from Manheim Central, where he beat me pretty badly in a game of horse where he didn't even get a letter because he just made 5 in a row and I missed all of them basically. And then the one in between,
like, this is the most non-competitive horse.
It was absurdly non-competitive. And then the one in between all that was the softball one where Hempfield's Lauren Lichtenwalner, she was pitching to me, and I was a baseball player, but I'm not used to seeing a softball rise like that and from that close. So that took me completely by surprise. So she whipped me pretty good. But the most recent one is on Game Time PA right now. You can link back to all the previous episodes, but the one on there right now is the one from Peckway Valley, where I take the team on in a combine-like competition, and their coach, their school. That was so cool because when I showed up to the school, the scoreboard was lit up and it said Braves on the one side of the scoreboard and Buffone on the other side.
Awesome.
The athletic director was all into it. The administration loved it and everything. So they were super excited to have to be featured on it, and they couldn't have been better hosts. I can't thank them enough. They were absolutely, because of them, we were able to make it so good with all the access they gave us.
Well, it was great stuff as always. John does it very often. It's always hilarious. Be sure to check it out next time. Again, we'll have Central York, Cedar Crest Boys Basketball Saturday, 7:30 p.m. tip-off, live stream on GameTimePA.com. Check us out again next week on Game Day with Gametime PA. We'll be back.
First in York, first in sports. Your only local sports station. The new Sports Radio 1350, WOYK, York, Pennsylvania.